So the UK corporate entertainment market, let's just have a quick talk about that. It's a very unique market in the world, actually. We're very privileged in the UK to have such a banging market. Seems to be a very developed culture in the UK for having entertainment at live events. I don't know if this is like some throwback to like court jester days or whatever, but it's huge here, much more than anywhere else in the world. You are sitting on a gold mine right here in the UK. You have a huge population in a very small area. That's brilliant. You can get from A to B really quickly. There's a huge amount of people to entertain. There is a vast amount of events happening constantly. So it's a very, I think as Josh was saying, there's a big market cap here. The appetite for non-funded non-funded, I mean not Arts Council funded. So it's your own thing, it's indoor focus and it's walkabout. Like, it's bigger in the UK again than anywhere, bigger than in Europe, bigger than in North America, bigger than in kind of Australia. It's huge. So you have a great chance here to make good business happen. So types of corporate events, you've got kind of award nights, staff parties, you've got client parties, you've got launches, brand launches, product launches, building launches. You have seminars, much like today, so maybe they might just kind of break things up by throwing an act on really quickly. You also have charity galas. Now this is a really interesting one. You've got kind of small charity events, but then you've got these charity fundraiser galas. Don't be misled by the word charity. They are making money that day. They are making a significant amount of money. They are raising it for charity, but it doesn't mean you can't charge them close to full rate. At Flame Oz, we have 4 tiers of pricing. We tier for direct inquiries, which is our agent price plus about 20%, because that's what the agent will be putting on. Actually, do a mystery customer on your agents, see how much they're putting on. We have an agent price, which is about 20% less. We then have a special tier for charities, which is a little bit less, but not too much because it's still a day's work for us. And then we have a tier for council-funded events. And we make them a little bit cheaper again because it's council-funded, so we need to give them a little bit of something. High-end private parties draw from this pool of high-end corporate acts as well. Josh did talk a little bit about that. Most of the private parties, in fact, all of the private parties that we do come through agents. Anything that comes directly to our website, weddings, private events, they never have the money to afford us, particularly, because and we know that because they're trying to cut out the middleman. So you can get banging private parties through your kind of high-end corporate agents and stuff like that. So what makes it high-end corporate? What's the difference? Because it's all a company at the end of the day, right? Well, particularly when you think about it, it's the caliber of the business people you are performing to. Are you performing to SEOs or are you performing to the local Screwfix shop staff? Do you know what I mean? There's a huge difference there. Obviously, the status of the business you're performing to, is it a luxury brand? Is it blue chip companies? These things are obviously key indicators. The prestige of the venue. I mean, there's a slight arrogance to all of this, right? I mean, like, oh, the venue is so prestigious, it must be high-end corporate. But there is a kind of truth in it because bigger businesses can afford bigger, more beautiful venues. It kind of makes sense, really. The amount and variety of suppliers. So what I mean there is, do you have video screens with dedicated AV crew and live cameramen? Do you have a sound guy? Do you have a lighting guy? Maybe 2 lighting guys? Do you have a whole plethora of people backstage running all the computers and screens and the stuff that makes it all happen? The more suppliers you've got, it's probably an indicator that this is a high-end corporate event. I hope I'm not kind of saying super duper obvious things here, but this is how you can kind of define it. And the quality of the suppliers. Is the PA system like 3 guys in a white van kind of like going, come on Jim, count the teeth in between them and they're lugging it out? Or is it full branded, slick looking crew, all their flight cases are branded, that whole lot? That's going to give you an idea about the quality of the supplier as well. And the layers of production. Do you have the PA of the CEO kind of like running the whole thing, or have they hired a production company? Has the production company then hired separate companies underneath them, and so you're getting a kind of sense of the hierarchy. Big events require huge amounts of workforce. That's why the events industry is such a big industry in the UK. It's employing a lot of people. So all of these things are kind of, these are the kind of events that I'm here to talk about today. So what's so good about it? Because I hear a lot of people kind of going, oh, corporates, you know, you do your act, you wait for your applause, and somebody's eating their steak. Well, that can be true, but there is a lot of good about it as well. You can do some really exciting events in really exciting venues. It can be fantastic. You can be in amazing venues as well. I mean, I've performed in over 50 countries. This isn't a humble brag, I mean, it is a bit, but performed in over 50 countries. I never would have been able to travel to that many places if it wasn't for work taking me there. So you get these kind of, and I would never call it a paycation, not that style. There are some gigs that can be paycations, but this is definitely fly in, fly out. Free food, woo! I'm still a circus performer at the end of the day. You get to work in really professional working conditions. You are treated like somebody who has value. Do you know what I mean? You aren't just kind of like, oh, there's the disabled toilet, go change in there, which, let's face it, we've all had, but you just get a high, you're treated like you're worth, which is actually fantastic, and you should be by the time that you're working here. You have great care taken of your act. You get high quality sound systems, you get full lighting rigs, you've got smoke machines, backdrops, the whole lot to make your act shine. Where else can you get that? Because you can't afford it yourself, most likely. Let me not actually put any kind of downers on anybody. And let's face it, it's the best money in the business. It really is. You're going to make the most money doing high-end corporate events. That being said, what's not great about high-end corporate events? I find our business is stacked from now until the end of the year. We earn a disproportionate amount of money in these kind of 2.5 months, and that is yay great, grueling, terrifying if you have an injury now. You could write off a big chunk of your season if your kind of wedge or pie is so heavily stacked in the corporate market. Ours isn't massively. We do a lot of kind of council sector and stuff like that, but actually, I mean, it is stacked mostly in corporate. That is really what we do. They can be very high stress situations. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. You have live events, they're typically one day. They've got to get everything in the venue. They've got stuff going on. They've got to get it all going on. The clock is ticking. It can be high stress. This is not a place for people who freak out at a moment of stress. You've got to be cool, calm, and collected, but you will learn that the more you work it. Sometimes it can be unfulfilling. Yes, it's true. The amount of times when we've done shows and people are there to network, we are just wallpaper. So unless you're really, I mean, hey, sometimes I've had to go like, I'm going to be the best wallpaper this event has ever seen. And that is a headspace you've kind of got to get into, because that can be your situation. Opposite to that, we've had some of the most amazing responses we've ever had. When we can command a full room of 500 people who are busy having food served, whatever, and they stop everything and give you their love, you know you're succeeding right there. So there is good. But it can be unfulfilling at the same time. Are these your people? Are these the people you want to hang out with? If you prefer like club environments and you're like rocking it and everyone's like manging and having a great time and loving you, maybe that's your thing. If you love the attention of small children, then, you know, Mark, you will be following me up right here, so stick around, you know, stick around.
It's a dangerous game.
Yeah. High-end corporate, you know, it looks, it's all about looks. It is all about looks. It's not all about looks, but it is a lot about looks. It's a lot about staying young, staying clean. We have a kind of a Flame Odds rule of no facial hair, no dreadlocks. Do you know what I mean? Like that's a decision we made because we wanted to go into that market, and that is a thing. Now, things have changed since we started. Tattoos, you can have tattoos pretty much everywhere now as a performer. Facial hair is de rigueur now. You know what I mean? Like you can do that. And I'll get a bit more onto that later. But looks are important. Staying young, fit, and healthy, it is important. It's bullshit, but it's the way it is, you know. And you need to be on agents' books to get this kind of work. A little bit about that. If you imagine you are somebody who's booking, this is your big gala event of the year. You're going to go. You have limited time. You're going to go to people who speak your language. Agents speak the language for corporate events. They're not really that interested in going and dealing with some scrappy artist and then that one and that one. They want to get a shopping list. Done. Push, bush. So you've got to be on an agent's books to get this kind of work. Maybe not super exclusively. Anything I say, there's always a little slither of a way you can get through that, but by and large, you've got to be on an agent's books. And there's a handful of agents in the UK who get this kind of work regularly. So I want to talk a bit about getting into the corporate headspace. You don't have to be corporate, but you at least need to empathize with the people that you're dealing with if you want to get on in these kind of events. Businesses run to schedules. Businesses are efficient. They do things in order. They write sheets and they have meetings about things and they plan things. This is the kind of people you're dealing with. Companies have grooming standards. Think about that. These are the people that you're dealing with. These are the people that book you. Their expectation is exactly that. That is their normal life. So if you rock in hippie flower pants, and I'm going to throw it out there, but like huge unwieldy dreadlocks with your Tesco's bag, do you fit in? Seriously, I mean, it's a joke, but I've seen it. And you want to fit in. Unfortunately, it is about being a bit sheepy. That's what corporate is. That's why they wear suits and uniforms, so that everybody fits into a box. It is a bit dark, but these are the people you're dealing with if you want them to book you. These people are essentially normies as well, they don't deal with us normally. So they're a bit, as I think Josh was saying, or maybe Marky was saying, there is they want the clown energy, but also they want you to kind of be a bit just easy to deal with as well and not super random and crazy.